Okay, we might have some action. Now, it is looking like Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez could be fighting in 2026. I know a lot of people have been kind of asking and wondering what's going on with that. I want to give you guys an update. Another thing is Teofimo made some very shocking comments, which I will talk about in this video. So stay tuned to the end. I will let you listen to those comments from Teo and just overall give you my thoughts. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, first of all, I'm going to take you through it where it looks like they'll be fighting next, right? Why do I say that? Boom. Shakur Stevenson, I'm cooking. It says, Ray Jackson, any updates of the fight with Teo? And Shakur replied, I'm cooking him next. Tell him to prove that ish to the world he been saying. And then he tagged him, right? So that's a good sign. Also, Teofimo posted this where it said like January, hang loose type of sign. So these look like strong indications that we could get the fight next, because what else would Teo be talking about January and Shakur talking about I'm approved and I'm fighting him next, blah, blah, blah. Before I move on to the shocking stuff that Teo said, I got to address this. I want boxing in its prime. I want the best that boxing has to offer. For me, one thing that is really in this new age of boxing, really hurtful and doesn't help the sport of boxing is the motor mouths in boxing where you have a fight that you're working on. Hear me out. You got a fight that you're working on and in negotiations for. Cool, no problem. I don't have no beef with that. Do it behind the scenes. What's happening and been happening in this space is these social media babies, they can't get off the internet. So it's like, yeah. I'm going to whoop him. I'm going to shut him up. I'm going to destroy him. Yeah, we're in negotiation. And they're telling the whole play. It's almost like I'm a movie buff. If you follow my channel, you know when it comes to pop culture, I'm him. I love music. My whole family loves music, and we love movies. So since I was a child, I've been a movie buff, right? I love a good film. That being said, an analogy I can give you is when a new movie's coming out and then they show too much in the preview. I don't know about y'all. You could let me know in the comment section if that bothers you. But for me, I hate when the trailer shows you way too much, right? Like one of my favorite movies this year was Sinners, right? But I think Ryan Coogler and his team did an excellent job of making the trailer to a point where it looked intriguing and it looked like, is this a horror movie, a thriller? And I'm just going to give the spoiler alert. So if you don't want a Sinner spoiler alert, cover your ears. But there's an element of it that's about vampires. But I remember when I first started seeing the trailers for the Michael B. Jordan, Ryan Coogler project, right? I had already read up about it, so I knew it was about vampires. However, if I hadn't read on it and I watched the trailer, the early teasers and trailers that were coming out, I don't know that I would know 100% that it was a vampire movie, right? Because of how they did it. And that's what you should do, in my opinion. Tease them, show a couple of the best bits, but real glimpses, like to get you into the theater, not show the whole thing, right? Have you ever watched a comedy, right? And all the funniest parts were parts that they showed you in the trailer, and you're like, that was kind of weak. I already knew the joke from the trailer. I'm not a fan of that. And that's what it feels like in boxing right now, where you have people who, it's almost like spoiling the movie, because like Teo, in this example, Teo and Shakur, they're like, I want to whoop him. I'm going to whoop him. Oh, he can't beat me. He can't beat me. We're in negotiations. Oh, he hasn't signed the contract. Man, I signed my portion of the contract. And it's like, bro, are y'all fighting? Or this whole Tio and Shakur fight been lagging on for a minute to the point where Crawford whooped on Canelo. That was some time ago, like September, right? They had Shakur and Teofimo doing a face-off back then, and we still, as of me recording this video, do not have an announcement. It might be coming soon now, which is good, but even before the Crawford-Canelo fight, which was in September, we were hearing about this fight. So it was like, how long, if two muff really want to fight, how long does it really truly take for you guys to come to terms, draw it up, and get it cracking? So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of the labored, long-lasting negotiations, and they're being done on social media. It's just corny. Like, I come from an era where it's like, out here in Northern California in the Bay Area, back in the day, if somebody was like loud, that's not the person you should fear. It was always the quiet ones. Like the person, like, where'd he go? Oh, he went to his trunk. You know what I mean? That you had to watch about the quiet dude. Like an altercation about to kick off and this dude slipped out the door and he coming back. That's who you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about the drunk loudmouth who's just like yelling and screaming. So this is a new experience for me with these social media Gen Zers, and everything's on social media. Everything is discussed publicly. You know, just get the fight done. Because my thing is this: what's the point of doing all this back and forth, and then a lot of times the fight don't happen? So you guys went for 10 months yelling at each other, but then the business side of things don't get done. Now it looks like this fight will get done, but it's just like we need to see it. We don't need to keep hearing about it and all that type of stuff. Now, I promise you guys, stay tuned to the end of the video. I will play the weird comments from Teofimo. At least I found them to be weird. You guys let me know what you think.
Shakur is slow. He's slow. I seen him at lightweight. I seen only highlights of his last fight with Cepeda, and he's slow. He's really slow. There's nothing more to it than that. So I think that with everybody that he's seeing and from his group and from those that have been, killing the game, honestly, like Terrence Crawford, which he calls and refers to as Big Bro. I think that the whole thing of that nature, I think that's really what's keeping him wanting to aim for bigger and better fights and for better opposition. I have yet to see, and I think you could attest with me, I don't think we have seen Shakur face anyone higher than who he's going to face next, and that's of me. So, I definitely, commend him at least for stepping up to the plate. But I think it's time. I think it's really that time for him to really take his first loss and, me whoop his ass to the point where either he quits on the stool or I knock him out.
Wow. You really believe that, because everyone will say, oh man, Shakur is probably one of the best defensive fighters in the game. You really believe you can stop Shakur Stevenson?
Yes. I got into the point where I built up my momentum all over again. It took me some time, after the Josh Taylor fight, it took me a few fights to come to that fire. I think that we even heard it with Gervonta Davis, that fire, that spark it ends up dying out for some odd reasons, whether it's from personal or from things from contraction. It took me a second, but seeing my fire flame back in May for Cinco de Mayo weekend in Times Square, I'm excited for this next one. I'm really am.
Wow. So that was Teofimo Lopez in a brand new interview, and I mean, some of what he said I agree with, some I definitely don't agree with, but that's usually with anybody, I'm not going to just arbitrarily agree with you if I don't agree with you. What I disagree with, he says Shakur is slow. I mean, Shakur has good timing, great distance management, and I wouldn't look at a fighter like Shakur. I wouldn't say he's Mildred Taylor, Gary Russell Jr. fast, or even like a Gervonta Davis level of fast, but I wouldn't go as far as saying he's a slow fighter. You know what I mean? So to me, that seems like a bit of a stretch. Teo is very athletic. You know, he does almost have like a Black American type of style. So hopefully it's a good fight. If they're talking like this early, I do like that. That makes me happy. But what I do agree with from Teofimo is when he said Shakur's resume is basically lacking and he will be the best name on Shakur's whole resume. Because you guys fan the flames and try to make me believe and others that William Zepeda was the one. You ain't never in life heard Boxingego like hoist up William Zepeda as the guy to watch. And I don't have a problem telling you who to watch. I told you to watch Crawford. I told you to watch Errol. I told you to watch NOA. I'm talking about before people were onto it and talking about it, not like after the fact. I told you to watch David Benavidez. So Better Biv. So I've been right about pretty much anyone that I co-signed, right? I tell you guys the ones to watch on my channel. The videos speak for themselves. But you ain't never heard me say William Zepeda is unbeatable and he's the guy to beat this guy or the best lightweight. But some people were running with it. He had a decent like marketing run because he was stopping a couple guys. But especially when he got to that Tevin Farmer fight and really struggled, and then Schofield knocked out the same Tevin Farmer in one round, that made it look worse for Shakur because like Zepeda punched you into the rope. Shakur fell all off into the rope. So yeah, Teo, long story short, he will be the best name Shakur's ever fought. I think he's greater than Robson Conceição. He's more accomplished than Artem Haratunian, Zepeda, like really everyone. Oscar Valdez. There's literally no one Shakur fought that has accomplished more and has like a better style than Teofimo. Now, that's not saying Teofimo will win the fight. Teo can be very inconsistent. So if you could lose to Kambosos, you can definitely lose on a given night to Shakur Stevenson if you don't have the right approach. But, you know, if we're taking Teo at face value, he said he had to go through a couple things, but he built back. Both of them had one fight this year, so that's good. So not either guy has a marked or significant advantage in terms of inactivity, because the Fatal Fury card with Ryan and Roley and Devin and Ramirez also had Teofimo Lopez, and shortly after that, Shakur Stevenson fought Zepeda at the tennis court on the Hamza Shiraz Berlanga card. So they both had their last fights pretty close to each other, right? So they have similar inactivity since their last fight. It's a pretty even fight in terms of that. Teofimo has a good style, can be inconsistent, good rhythm, better resume, but those are like his strong points. But he could be up and down. Like you don't know what Teo you're going to get all the time. Shakur, he has better, I would say, overall defense probably, or distance management. He's more consistent. You consistently get a certain type of performance from Shakur. And his ring IQ is good, very good. But his resume is not as good. So good fight. I would definitely be tuning in. Let me know what you guys think of the fight. For more boxing news, subscribe to Boxingego. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new. But even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.